Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at how you can beat the Metal Cooler Core event in less than 8 turns. So this is probably, out of all of these speed runs, I guess this is probably the easiest one. Essentially the first 3 turns are a gimmick. So essentially, in terms of like the premise of the event, the first 3 turns you can't actually kill anyone. So essentially, it is a little bit of a gimmick in a sense that basically it's all set up for the final phase against the physical cooler. Now the cool thing about this, cool in inverted commas, because cooler, is that you can, if you play it wisely and if you get a little bit lucky with supers, you can use this period to mainly just stack and prep yourself. Nice thing is that it's a 2-phase event, so first phase is in type and you know it's only going to last 3 turns, and then basically you are immediately into a physical phase, and in that physical phase you have a little bit more of control because you are guaranteed to face a physical opponent. So by building a very strength heavy team, you can basically have quite a significant chance to beat the event within the time limit, because basically you are just kind of working within 5 turns. So the whole premise of the 8-turn fight here is that you work exactly within the 5 turns. So yeah, it is obviously something that I would say, is definitely challenging still. But I think because of the premise, because it's essentially just a 5-turn fight against the physical phase, you can kind of build a bit easier for it. Whereas obviously, for a Mega Shenron, for example, you kind of want to run physical units. But then those physical units hit kind of a bit of a barrier when they take on the strength phase. So that is just, in terms of the whole event itself, that is basically the simple premise behind it. Now, of course, doesn't mean that it's easy. So, it's not easy just because it's got a good strategy behind it. It still is quite challenging. There's not a lot of units that can handle physical cooler. Even if they are strength type, he hits very hard. As you will see later on, he can hit extremely hard. So it is definitely still a very, very challenging event. But with all that considered, I think there's definitely a good premise in terms of which units you can and can't take into the event and what kind of team builds are going to work for you. For me personally, I found that the Terrifying Conquerors team tended to work the best. It gives you a double strength cooler, with strength cooler being arguably the strongest strength unit in the entire game. I think for me, he definitely is an incredible unit. And he can hard carry this event pretty substantially by himself. So running double strength cooler for me did feel like the best option. I think I've beaten this event in under 8 turns 3 times, all with strength cooler, every single time I've taken on this event with him. So he is a very, very solid option because of that. Obviously, being a Terrifying Conquerors and transformation boost lead, movie bosses as well, gives you access to some pretty strong roster units. You've got tech Janemba, you've got physical Janemba, you've got quite a few very, very, very strong options as well. In terms of the support memory, I did use basically the support memory we get from beating all of the Wicked Bloodlines, red zone stages. It just does help, and it just makes you go a little bit faster. So in terms of cooler, obviously strength cooler, you just kind of want to let him do his thing. You want to let him build up as much as possible. You want to let him get those super attacks off, and that's generally the kind of premise behind strength cooler. There's nothing too wild there. we're popping an item. We pop one item in the end phase just to kind of get us going, and then we pop one item at the beginning of the physical phase, both of them being Whis items. Again, just for security, give us some free damage, prevent us from dying, etc. Then alongside Cooler, we've got, well, Cooler. We're going to have Strength Cooler. Obviously after his EZA, a really strong unit. He stacks attack and defense, which means he's, you know, definitely a lot stronger. And also he's obviously got those two very nice support capabilities, and he's got a great link set that links very well with Strength a la Cooler as well. We're not going to transform him. There's no need to transform him in this game mode, so there's no need because he's not going to get guaranteed critical hits. So for me, who's only got him at 55%, it's better to just let him continue to stack his defense as well, and then we should have a little bit of a better time. Physical Cooler, we're going to push off the rotation. You're going to see, again, like I said, units take a lot of damage here. This is with a Whis, 561,000 damage, so it is a very tough stage. So yeah, but yeah, basically we are rocking the Cooler combination. We've then also got the LR Frieza for power, a unit that I think is not as good as people maybe want him to be, but I think is still very usable in certain teams for certain stages, and he does a great job in this specific red zone challenge. He does a fantastic job beating it in less than 8 turns. He, you know, does a really swell job. He can do big damage. He also has that interrupt, which is going to come in useful. You're going to see it come in useful, and that guaranteed critical hits, along with also the big damage that he can do, is pretty clutch. So Frieza is pretty good from that perspective, and you're going to see that really come into play here. And then finally, to kind of round off the team, we have AGL Golden Frieza, more so for tanking, and then we have Kulieza, more so for his support. So his support and his good damage. He's also strength type, so he does have really good damage in this phase, so that obviously helps us as well. But yeah, in general, you're going to see obviously just moving, you know, units around for the links a little bit, but you're going to see why the interrupts come in handy here. There are 3 attacks after Frieza, and between Cooler and Frieza's own passive interrupt, we're going to be able to stop 2 of them. Now, I'm not saying that it prevents a super attack, but it definitely reduces the chance of Frieza taking a super attack before he actually fires off his attack. So pretty good stuff. And then we get very lucky. Well, you know, Cooler fires off his like 4 normal attacks, but he crits on 2 of them, which is pretty good, and we managed to finish with Cooler without really taking too much risk. There was a chance, obviously, to get supered on Cooler. We would have died there. I think normals, he would have been fine. But yeah, we managed to get things done. It was a bit tight, but we did beat the time limit quite substantially, getting there within 6 turns. So yeah, but in general, pretty nice stuff, and pretty easy to kind of take on. Team build wise, very simple, mainly strength based, and you should in inverted commas have a decent time. They still need to have some decent defense, but you can kind of work around that. But that's gonna be it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. So until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.